Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom, the walking, talking, encyclopedia. Intestines, the digestion and absorption. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is perfectly known. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature with which perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank is the reward of 60 years of integrated education. Impeccable wisdom is enlightening, and integrated knowledge is empowering. We are at this juncture of trying to understand human digestive system completely. The first point which comes to my mind is the prime function of digestive system is the continuous supply of water, nutrients, electrolytes, and all the essential ingredients for perfect homeostasis and perfect health. Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and evacuation or defecation are the five executive functions which we got to remember. Having understood that, now we come to the design of our digestive human system. I've been saying very clearly from the day one that human beings are not carnivorous, that means non-vegetarian eating animals, nor are we herbivores who eat on grass. We are like birds meant to design things which are designed for human beings and birds which have the capacity to fly to the universal level of consciousness. We are not like four-legged animals fit only for earth. We stand on two legs and we can high as the birds can go. From that angle, this particular design is like a frugivorous, and we should eat only what is required, not what is not required. Having understood that, now let's move on to the next step. Human teeth are also designed keeping in mind Deviant ratio. Deciduous childhood temporary teeth are 20 in number. Permanent teeth are 32. The ratio is Deviant ratio. Roots are also 1, 1, 2, 3, which follows Deviant sequence. And middle upper incisors are designed like Deviant ratio only. So this also shows that we are like Deviant. Another thing comes to the head part. Head and face has got 22 bones, out of which 21 are fixed, 1 is free. As a result, it represents the center of Brahma consciousness of 22 by 21. Now let's move on to the one thing which I want everybody to remember, okay, we human beings are designed very specially, then we should design our breakfast, lunch and dinner in such a way that we can just take more than enough money with food which is required for digestion, absorption, assimilation, and all the things will be made taken care of. More than that is not. We should eat to live, not live to eat. And live only what is required and not what is not required. If we make sure of that, we will have no problem whatsoever. And the digestion of carbohydrates starts in the mouth under neutral pH itself. And absorption of digested starch with the alpha amylase into maltose and then to glucose, and glucose designed in such a way that we do not go to the state of reactive hypoglycemia after eating food. That's it. Another thing which I want everybody to remember, Ayurveda makes it very clear, eat slowly, convert all the digested solid material into liquid form before swallowing it. All the things earlier are voluntary in nature right up to mouth level. After that, when it's swallowed into the esophagus and then right up to the inner level, it is involuntary in action. Once that is understood, we take care, then things will not be any problem at all. And as far as salivary glands are concerned, they are controlled by facial nerve and glossopharyngeal nerve. Taste and smell should also go in hand is this particular ratio for me to bring it to your fore, that food, smell, taste have a lot of role to play with our thinking process or our satisfaction of food itself. So, one Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, talks of the perfect human being and keeping all the senses in mind. Having understood that, we can now move on to the next stage of understanding. After having eaten food, digestion of carbohydrates in the mouth, then food is swallowed into esophagus, and then it moves to stomach, and from stomach, fifth level of nervous system, the GIT, heart and uterus come to play a role to make sure that we survive for generations to come together. And pacemaker for GIT is in the fundus of the stomach itself. Now, role of different parts of the stomach I have already explained. But interesting thing is, for the second part, instead of neutral atmosphere of the stomach, it has to be converted into hydrochloric acid so that we can kill the microorganisms, break down protein products, and also absorption of meiotic system with the help of vitamin B12 intrinsic factors. Having understood that, we can go to the next stage. How the hydrochloric acid is made, I think I've already explained. Carbon dioxide plus water, carbonic acid. Then hydrogen with chloride becomes hydrochloric acid for hydrochloric acid. Let's leave it at that. For digestion, absorption and assimilation, it is the parasympathetic system which plays role, and I would say cranial parasympathetic, facial, glossopharyngeal and vagus play important role, and that's it. And let's leave it at that with the pons and medulla. How they take care of the digestion is what is required. Sympathetic just to counter the effect. But the whole thing is designed with the Vivek ratio, there is no doubt about that. Then prime function of liver is to give the exocrine functions, particularly bile secretion for digestion, absorption of fats. And of course, almost everything which is digested, ingested, digested, absorbed and assimilated in the liver to be used for functions of the perfect body is also something which have to be understood only by understanding prime functions of liver. Having explained that, I think I'll leave it at this. Pancreas. The third level of digestion is with lipids and fats, fatty acids. That starts in small intestines, and neutral material of mouth, acidic material of stomach. When come to small intestine, it becomes alkaline in nature. And alkalinity is done by the exocrine functions of the pancreas. And bile from this will make sure that everything is done in that particular atmosphere. I have already explained that. I will not go further into detail, but this is what important. Enterohepatic circulation is something which I want you to remember when you are in small intestines. The food is absorbed. When you come to the small intestine, digestion of fat lipids starts, and that becomes one by one. If starch amount is small, amount of bile which is produced per day could be 0.3 grams to maybe 5 grams, and that could take us a limited amount of fats to be digested. If your fat content is less, you may not have many circulations. But if it is more, it is discharged by the liver, goes to gallbladder, and gallbladder releases it when you have food coming to small intestines. And after digesting that, bile salts again reabsorb 95% and come back to the liver, and between liver and intestine it goes on circulation till the whole fat is dissolved and there is no problem whatsoever. And that is the reason why I have explained enterohepatic circulation very clearly so that you understand what it is all about. Exocrine functions. Now all the digestion which takes place in the abdomen, small intestine, is done with alpha amylase, chymotrypsin, deoxyribonuclease, lipase, procarboxypeptidase, proastidase, phosphorylates, procolipase, ribonuclease and trypsinogen. All these hormones, almost nearing 10, 11, are required for digestion of all the things which are there in small intestine. Having done that function completely in alkaline medium, you are literally come to the stage that all what is required is fully absorbed from intestine through the portal system, which takes it back to the liver, and liver assimilates one by one and converts into something which is absolutely essential. So coming to the end of it, digestion of carbohydrate starts in mouth with alpha amylase of digested starch into maltose and glucose, but remaining kinds of foods which are not maltose, like lactose, is done in small intestines, not there. So keeping all other alternative carbohydrates, monosaccharides, disaccharides, peptidesaccharides, all that takes place in small intestines. But primarily it is lipase again. That should be kept in mind. And of course, beside carbohydrates, then you have other proteins and the lipids plus nucleic acids. All digestion takes place in the stomach and then is absorbed and again assimilated and circulated throughout the body for further functions. Now let's move on to the next. Small intestine structure I have shown. Okay, now when you take the food, put in the mouth, you have the lips, then you have the teeth, you have the tongue, you have the digestion, then nasopharynx, oropharynx, pharyngopharynx, esophagus, to stomach, to duodenum, to small intestine. This is how it goes. And that is longitudinal structure. Now its cross-section structure you can see right from inside. Bulk digestion. There is absorption from inside called ileum for absorption. Cross-section starts with mucus, villi, submucous layer, submucous plexus, circular muscles, mesenteric plexus, longitudinal muscles, serous layer, connective tissue, and then peritoneum. All these structures will make sure that everything is done systematically and everything moves like a peristaltic movement from stomach right up to the anus step by step, and you have no problem whatsoever. As long as you can take care of the gastrointestinal system this way, you are perfectly fine. At this particular juncture, let me only explain one thing which is absolutely essential. If you are into spiritual science precepts and you are going for ingestion, digestion, absorption, should be done at least 2 to 3 hours before you get into active meditation mode. Otherwise, you should be very slow and steady to be done with it. Otherwise, you should make sure that you don't eat more than enough when you are going to work on that. The amount of breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever is required, give enough time before you start a serious work. If that is done, you will have no problem on spiritual science work and at all. And that is the criteria which I would explain to everyone who wants to understand how exactly digestive system could be worked. But as far as selective fasting, to the best of my opinion, not necessary, provided you are able to take only what is required, not more than that, and that is what ancient Indian scriptures talk about. Overeating is not required, undereating is also not. This is also the message from Bhagavad Gita too. If you want to become a yogi, you've got to get enough, not more than enough, not less than enough. If that is understood, I think you are through to be a spiritual scientist, but at the same time, you'll have no problem whatsoever with respect to ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and defecation at all. Things will go systematically, provided you understand what is the requirement and how you take it, which way you take it. From that angle, I think small intestine work is done pretty well. But absorption of all what has been digested is done by villi and taken into the portal vein and carried to the liver for assimilation. That is something which I want again and again everybody to understand. This is separate from your venal circulation otherwise. This is internal matter from digestive system to liver straight away and then go to the remaining part. Of course, as far as mouth is concerned, that's a different story. But now come to the part large intestines, which I feel is also important. This, but here let's first understand the simple anatomy. You have simple columnar epithelium, no place for circulate and no villi, no cells to secrete the digestive enzymes, mucosa thicker than abundant crypts and goblet cells, presence of stratified epithelium in anal region, presence of anal sinus between anal column and superficial venous plexus. Once this anatomy is understood, that is very different from small intestine. Small intestines are there for digestion and absorption, but here there is no question of digestion and there is hardly much of physiology as far as absorption is concerned. There is water absorption or various substances can take place, but digestion by and large is not. Now let's go to the physiology part. Large intestines are reserved for fecal matter. Absorption of various substances take place. Extracellular fluid volume is maintained. Synthesis of various substances take place. Mucus secretion is there. And bacterial digestion is there. Motility is there. Small amount of digestion of residual bacteria. No food intake takes place. Harvest vitamins made by bacteria. Absorption is not a major function. The primary concern is storage and propulsive activities are plus. So from that angle you can see what is the role of the large intestine in the complete digestive system. But anal region, anal recti, the whole thing. Now on the right side you can see the three different pictures. They are different bacteria which take place in large intestine. All the undigested food which is there, with the help of this we can reduce it. But here I would like to spend some more time. People who are taking involuntary medicines are doing something which requires certain amount of digestion. They should one by one avoid this particular thing and try to keep within physiological limits. If that is done, you will have no problem. Bacteria flora and taking maybe artificial probiotic and prebiotic is also essential. Taking curds is essential so that at least you make sure that your bacterial flora is normal. Suppose for some reason you are taking non-vegetarian food or you are taking antibiotics to kill bacteria. It's better to take curd or globus and make sure that bacterial flora is maintained and you will have no problem whatsoever. From that angle, importance of fecal matter embedded with lactobacilli, and they are called lactobacilli, and curd has abundance of it, and that will make sure that you should not suffer from any of the problems of bacterial inflora at all. So from that angle, now let me give you one complete flow chart from right from mouth up to the feet, step by step, in such a way that you remember it for the rest of your life without any problem. Take the food which is required, take the concentration which is done, should be combination of good vegetables, fruits, nuts, everything combination such a way. All the requirement of your body should come to your food itself completely. Drink plenty of water. One of the biggest problems as you grow older is dehydration, which becomes a problem as you grow older. So maintaining water content and keeping the blood volume within perfect level is absolutely essential to be perfectly healthy. From that angle, drinking regular water, keeping everything fertile, and keeping everything in a perfectly integrated way is required for anybody and everybody to be perfectly healthy. And what happens in mouth, what happens in stomach, what happens in small intestine, what happens in large intestine, how to go. If you understand the whole thing completely and everything is done systematically, I can assure you, thou shall have no problem whatsoever of ingestion, absorption, assimilation, digestion, as well as excretion of any product. And for some reason, when you start suffering from odus prana, meaning prana going opposite side, peristaltic movement becoming anti-peristaltic, you should watch out and find the reasons, like maybe because of alcohol, because of cigarettes, because of sepsis, because of drugs, or whatever it may be. Eliminate one by one and become as perfect as possible. I can assure you, you will have no problem whatsoever. From that angle, this particular series in the last few months is very clear how exactly a person can live a perfectly healthy life, at the same time be spiritual without suffering from any of the problem which I find many of the people suffering from spiritual evolution with Kundalini syndrome, peristaltic becoming anti-peristaltic, or those things can be avoided by taking care of food and doing things systematically, step by step, in time, without any problem. From that angle, I would say these series have a lot of message for people who are sincerely going to work for spiritual science work along with the rest of the thing and have no difficulty whatsoever. I think once that is done, I think everything is officially done perfectly. This picture is there. I don't think I need to talk about it today. I think I added a large intestine to complete it. Maybe we can talk about it next time. But so far, it's been good. So thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you.